been talking a lot about social media, and I think it goes to say that social media is good for your social life, but what about if it's good for business? Now, Jim Tobin, he's a social media marketing expert and speaker, and he's written a book called Social Media is a Cocktail Party. Welcome, Jim.
Thank you very much.
Now, how can social media be good for business?
Well, what people have come to learn over the last couple of years is that they can talk about their experiences online, both with personal things and with business, and that's an opportunity for those businesses to engage. And the other thing is, every brand, well, every decent brand has brand advocates, and social media marketing is really the process of equipping those advocates with a way to talk about your product. And if you do that, it's the most powerful marketing there is. If somebody else tells you to go buy brand X, that's much more powerful than brand X telling you to go buy brand X. So it's a real opportunity.
Jim, I just want to do some breaking news right now, because I just want to hold on for the conversation for just a second, because we have some breaking news on FoxNews.com. The 4 Americans that were abducted by Somali pirates on their yacht Quest, the report is that they have been killed. This is a very, very treacherous story. We will, of course, be following this story. This is a very, very, very sad story. One of the things that we are learning about is that social media has been contributing to a lot of the unrest and a lot of the protests in the Middle East, but also, these are the kinds of things that social media has been a part of. Jim, I know we were talking about business, and it's good for business, but social media really is the engine of our future. I mean, it really has far-ranging capabilities, business, social, personal, even things like getting an update on a situation near Somalia.
Yeah, and I think what we're seeing with not only that, but we're seeing with Egypt, and we're seeing with Libya, we're seeing with Tunisia, that the power of these networks to spread information, to rally people to a cause, is just absolutely tremendous. And it's not possible for a government, for a dictator, for a brand, for any of the traditional power sources to tamp that down when people feel passionately about something. The tools are there now, and it's not even possible to stop them like you used to be able to.
We used to think that people like Gaddafi could not be brought down because they had such an iron grip around their people. But now we're seeing even someone like Gaddafi is waffling because of something like social media. Why is this thing so powerful?
Well, because there's no one throttle. When you have state-controlled news, when you have state-controlled, papers and things like that, it's fairly easy to tamp things down. But you've got multiple sites. You've got Facebook, you've got Twitter, and Twitter can be operated by a text message. So that's in fact how it started. You send a text message, it turns into a tweet. And so it's very hard to stop all those things. And even in the cases in Libya where they've done a lot of that, they've tamped down on a lot of it, people are just picking up the phone, talking to relatives in other countries who then have this ability to turn into publishers. So before, the person in Libya would have to get to a journalist. Now they have to get to anyone with access to a computer who can share that, and if they prove to be credible, it gets shared wider and wider.
And how should businesses then operate differently? I mean, because they know that this tool is out there ready to be used not only by them, but also by their employees.
Yeah, we started the company in 2007, and what we heard back then from some brands was, well, we don't want to participate in social media. I don't think Gaddafi wants to participate in social media right now, or Hosni Mubarak in Egypt wanted to participate in social media, but the people want to participate in social media. So given that, you have to have a mechanism by which you can hear what's happening online relative to your brand, your product, your situation, and you have to have a base from which you can respond. And so some people are using Facebook fan pages for that, others blogs, others Twitter, YouTube, whatever the platform is, you need a mechanism by which to respond. That's sort of the defensive side of things, the making sure you know what's going on and the making sure you can take action to share your side of the story. Because if you're a good brand, you've typically got a good side of the story. The proactive side is when you've got fans, can you help them spread the word for you? We've done campaigns where we were promoting a company, and with maybe a $100,000 budget, we exceeded what had been done with millions, literally millions of dollars of television commercials, because you touch the right nerve and people share that for you, and it can drive tremendous traffic, and then that traffic engages on a much deeper level than they do if they come from an ad.
Yeah, you know, you were talking about the Super Bowl, the social bowl. I mean, that's really the interesting element, because everybody talks about the Super Bowl ads, and there were so many advertisers. They had a social media element in there, recognizing the power of this sort of new engine.
They did. I was a little disappointed, actually, that they didn't take it a little further. I think the Super Bowl has been turned into an effort where, you know, the funniest ad wins, and I think certain companies like Doritos have done an excellent job with that. What a lot of them did is they slapped, you know, Facebook at the end. They didn't tie the campaign into jump-starting something else. There's a few exceptions. Audi did a good job with a Twitter program after their campaign about the new luxury. They did a Twitter program where people could tweet and win either old luxury goods or new luxury goods, and that got some traction. But by and large, most of the advertisers on the Super Bowl, I think they made the decision that at this price, with only 30 seconds, we're going to go for entertaining. We're going to go for you know, the amusement factor and the buzz of our ads. But I think social media is much more than we put our ad up on YouTube and look at all these extra views we got. That's good, but it can be even more.
You know, we were very familiar with Twitter, Facebook, also something called LinkedIn, I think. What is on the forefront? What are the brands that are coming into the realm of social media?
There's a lot happening in location-based marketing, meaning do you check into Facebook Places, or do you check into a site called Foursquare? And when you do that, there are opportunities for brands. Number one, if I check in at Starbucks, I'm telling all my friends that I went to Starbucks. That in and of itself is valuable, but Starbucks also can see that. And there are now loyalty programs for when you check in repeatedly someplace, Starbucks may give you a free latte. So there are programs like that where those location-based services, so almost point of sale merging with social media, is going to become more and more powerful. And then new sites like Quora, it's actually been around for a year or two, but it's gotten a lot of buzz in the last 6 months, where it's about questions and answers. So you ask about anything you want and someone comes along and answers it. That's a little bit like LinkedIn, where you show it's less about having a big network and more about having credibility in the space and being known for giving good answers. So there's identity, which Facebook sort of manages, and then there's credibility, which I think LinkedIn and Quora are better at.
Are we in danger of reducing the share of the pie as more of these groups come into play and they become more specialized?
A bit. I think you see a lot of, there's some fatigue. Back in 2007, again, it seemed like every week there was another site and all the geeks were jumping on it to check it out. That hasn't happened as much in the last year. It's been a little more slow, and I think people are a little more skeptical and have a bit more fatigue. But at the same time, people like Facebook, they've done a really great job of letting you go to other sites and sign in with your Facebook account, or you can sign in with any number of other accounts, and that's helping people feel a little more comfortable that they don't have to create a new relationship right off the bat if they can use that sort of sign-on to begin a relationship with a site. But fatigue is a potential factor for sure.
Well, Jim, thank you very much for joining us. Your book is called Social Media is a Cocktail Party, right?
That's correct.
Why you are already know the rules of social media marketing. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you very much.
All righty.